Anyone want brain-shaped meatloaf for Halloween? How about a really easy and quick homemade ketchup recipe to go with it?
Let's see what's cooking. Let's get the facts. Let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Max 12.
Hello everyone. I'm going to show you a meatloaf recipe I've made many times before. It's a go-to for me. It's always tasty. You start off with a package of stovetop stuffing. Add to that 3/4 of a cup of water. Put this in the microwave for about 2 or 3 minutes and then set it aside to cool a little bit. I put 2 pounds of ground chicken in that bowl, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper. I add in about a tablespoon of Italian seasonings. And then you can add whatever seasoning you want. You could put garlic powder, onion powder. I also added in some cheddar cheese, about 3/4 of a cup shredded. And then the stuffing mix that's slightly cooled. And then a beaten egg. And then you just mix it all together to form your meatloaf. And you can do this with a spoon or with your hands. It depends on what you want to do. And then I put it in the brain mold. I greased this mold quite well. And this is the mold I had bought to make that brain jello cake that I had done a few years ago. And that 2 pounds filled it right up and even filled it so that it was mounded a little bit, which I thought was okay because if it's a brain, it would be most likely have more of a rounded shape. And then I had to decide how to bake it. So I decided to put it meat side down. And then I thought that maybe as it's baking, that meat might drop down and pull away from those little grooves and I might lose the brain shape altogether. So I decided in the end to flip it over and bake it this way. I baked it at 350 degrees for about an hour and 15 minutes or so until a meat thermometer inserted in the center showed a safe temperature, which is about 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And while that was baking, I made some quick ketchup. And I've made this recipe before as well. It's quite good. It's basically tomato paste, water, vinegar, and a bunch of spices that you most likely have in your kitchen, especially if you are someone who likes to bake. And then all you have to do is kind of stir it up. And you can adjust the sweetness the way you want it by adding as much sugar as you want. I use a little bit of powdered sweetener because I'm trying to reduce the amount of sugar that I eat. So I'm using some stevia sweetener instead. And then you can warm this up on the stove if you want, or you can just eat it the way it is cold. That actually is almost as good as a Heinz ketchup you'll get out of a bottle. And there's my meatloaf out of the oven. And it turned out okay. You can still see all the ridges. I mean, that mold that I was using didn't have really deep ridges to begin with, so I knew I wouldn't probably get a super fantastic result, but I was okay with this. And I added, of course, some of that ketchup on top just for flavor and to accentuate some of those nooks and crannies to make it look more like a brain. And then to serve it, I put it on a metal platter with more of that ketchup all around the edge to make it look like blood. And of course, I added some parsley because if you're going to serve brains for dinner, you have to add parsley as a garnish. Those are the rules. Here's kind of another angle of it. The meatloaf itself is a really nice meatloaf. Like it's a great everyday kind of dinner. It makes quite a bit of meatloaf, so we'll serve quite a few people. And it's even better cold the next day, sliced up and put into a sandwich. On your screen right now are 2 videos. One is to that brain cake that I talked about where I used that mold before. And there'll also be a link to my mummy meatloaf, which uses some pastry wrappings, and that one turned out pretty good too. Thank you so much for watching.